This is going to be a very, very exciting class. Some things that a lot of women that need to know this information. There are a lot of people online right now that have been waiting on this class. We can help a lot of black people out right now. This is one of the most common things, common conditions that's going on in our African American community, and we can heal from this. And we've just been forced by the medical industry to just go ahead and get hysterectomies, myomectomies, all these different types of methods and treatments that they have, but they never really can just heal you. You know, it comes with other side effects and complications. If everyone has their worksheet, I hope that they print out everything online first. There are some definitions there that you may need to know about, that you may not be so familiar on. They call fibroids leiomyomas. These are the growth of the tumors that just start off in the womb, in the uterus. So they have certain different locations, like the pedunculate fibroid that's here. You can actually zoom in a little bit for them to see it. They have submucosal fibroids that happens in the actual uterine lining. All these locations are just different places where they show up at. All right, it's something really, really. It can be damaging or can obstruct some different areas. A lot of people want to say that it causes infertility. There is an infertility myth that's going on with this. I want you guys to know that there is possibilities that you can have a baby with fibroids. But I want to show you guys a picture. I'm going to pass this around first after they see it online. This is the complications that they have with the pregnancy. You won't have a lot of room within that uterus, that womb. This is kind of devastating for the baby. So I'll pass it around so you can see it. Now, if those myomas, those leiomyomas are there, the baby's going to have a premature birth. It may not get enough oxygen. There's fibroids everywhere. So my auntie has this, my sisters, and so I'm going to be really sensitive about the subject. I know that there's a lot of women that want to have children that has had a hysterectomy before, and I want to just show some different methods how we can heal from it and actually dissolve them. There are ways to dissolve it. But I want to put out a keynote that this is not really acquainted with some miraculous, instantaneous, just passing of the fibroid. This is not what that is. I know a lot of people that did the liver flush, the gallstones, they just easily come out. But this method, it's going to take some time. This actually has started within our childbearing years, by the time you got your first period. So your first menstruation, during this time, if you were doing certain things, like eating sugar, eating a lot of fatty foods, and we can always go back and say it's based on diet. We know that these things are very hormonal dependent. That's what grows them, the estrogen dominance. Once you're on that side of the bell curve with so much estrogen, the actual fibroid is going to have way more estrogen receptors, so it's going to start signaling other estrogens to come over there and help feed it. All right. Also the sugar, also all of the different things that we've been introduced to, like the xenobiotics. These are the estrogen mimickers. The estrogen mimickers, or you call them endocrine disruptors. Things that damage the thyroid. That's your metabolism. It's a part of the ovaries. It's a part of the whole system. The adrenals. But then we got to think about the food. All right, so digging into the food. Now, it's a lot of people like to eat animal proteins. If we think about our animal proteins, one of the main things black people like to eat is chicken. And when you think about the commercialized chicken that's out there, they have never seen the sun. All right, they are inside their immune system is lowered, and they have to be pumped with certain hormones to keep their immune system heightened, and antibiotics to keep their immune system heightened. All right, so they're also introduced to the xenobiotics. All right, so we can talk all day about the causes. All right, we can talk all day about that, but we are introduced to this as a youth. Say 18, when we were trying not to have children, we got introduced to the birth control, the contraceptive, that adds more estrogen to us, and the BPAs that's in all the bottles. So we actually got introduced to that when we were a baby. All right, so all those things add up and create accumulation. We got BHTs, we got BCBs, we got all these different types of parabens, phthalates, all that's out there. From the feminine products to the makeups to the lipstick to the eyeliner, all have estrogen mimickers in it. So it's kind of like set up for us to actually develop these things. So 85% of the African American people, that's 2 out of 3 women, black women, will have fibroids by the time they turn 50 years old. All right? So that's me just walking down the street, 2 out of 3 women will have fibroids. All right, so it's a very common thing. But when you think about our Caucasian people, our Indian people, they're around about 50 to 60% that they would have a fibroid. So I'm going to tell y'all why this is happening. But first, I just want to talk to you guys about what's going on in the lymphatic system. Now, this is a pocket. These things are actually a pocket of lymph sacs. All right, so something is going on. Something's going on where these lymphatic fluids are building up in this particular area, and we got to figure out why. So there is a network of these vessels, right? These vessels, they're passing through almost all of our tissue. So when you think about your lymphatic system, all right, I drew this right here so you can see how our network is actually working. All right, so you gotta say this is a heart. Just say this is a heart. And it's going down this main vein. All right, so we meet this capillary right here. This is where we lose some of our different cellular debris. I'm talking about any bacteria that may be in the blood. Those things have to leak out. 10% of that goes into the lymphatic vessel. Now, in this area right here, this is where a lymph node is. All right, these actually have macrophages. They take out the bacteria. They take out all the different viruses and things. So, and the rest of that fluid goes back into the big veins. All right, so this is a closed network from the heart. But this lymphatic system is an open network, so it has to drain through your kidneys, it has to drain through your bowel movements. So we must keep the lymphatic system cleansed. So there's a certain area in the lymphatics. I have a picture on your worksheet, and it's trying to explain what's going on in your lymphatics. All right, and that's what I kind of explained right here, that in our lower areas, all of our lymphatics that pick up everything from the trunks in our lower extremities. There's a certain area called the cisternae chyli. This vessel actually prevents the damage of fibroids. It can actually draw in most of the lymphatic fluids, all right? But if that system is clogged and it has backflow, then something else is creating that backflow. What's creating that backflow is the leaky gut. In your gut, there's these little villi. And the little villi all over called the brush border in your gut, in your intestine. They have something inside of it called a lacteal. And when this happens to break off by any type of animal food or a steak that you may be eating, chicken or something that you may be eating, this creates microscopic pinholes inside of this villi. And inside of this villi is a lacteal, and it connects directly to your lymphatic system. All right? So when somebody says you had a leaky gut, that means that something in your gut is actually broken off, and you can now see leakage into your system. Now, this is happening with people with autoimmune disease, all type of immune issues, because they can't regulate this. They can't actually heal up their gut. So what you do for that is you take a supplement called L-glutamine. L-glutamine helps seal the gut. All right, seal these areas. It only takes about 5 days to seal your gut. All right, and you can start drinking or taking 2 tablespoons or 2 teaspoons of coconut oil every day. All right, so that helps the gut cleanse up. Now there's different methods, guys, that we have to use. I have set up here 2 different ways, or one protocol after one. So the first thing we're going to make sure is the gut has to be healed. This improves our lymphatic system once this is healed. Now, I want the people that's online to go to a video on Shalom Health Institute. It's called Fat Metabolism. It'll tell you everything about chylomicrons. This is how it goes up the thoracic duct, all the way up until the cisternine chyli. And this creates something called chyle. It's a milky substance that's coming out of the lacteals. This milky substance ends up right here. All right, it builds up right here. And this is right here on your abdominal wall. This is why you feel pressure right there on the abdominal wall. These areas right here can easily start touching the bladder. All right, so it can cause more. We know that it also causes heavy menstruation. People that have to get blood infusions. You know, losing iron, losing magnesium. They always seem to be low on iron and fatigue. So this is what you do. One of the things that's going to help out your immune system, your lymphatic system the most, is to start drinking like a gallon of cranberry juice. You need 3 days to actually push this lymphatic system to work and clear again. So the protocol that I give people for lymphatic cleansing is to drink 1 gallon of cranberry juice, and drink the Shalom healing water, and take the lymphatic herbs. This is the lymphatic cleanse. You got to have some teas in there too, because we use the cleaver's tea. The cleaver's tea helps pull the lymphatics. All right, so every lymph node will feel some healing there. But the biggest cause, all right, I want you guys to write this down. What is the cause that you think for fibroids? Why do we think? I mean, we just named a couple different contributing factors, but it's not really the main cause. Anybody can answer.
It can be your digestive.
We know that we got a leaky gut already.
Okay.
All right. So there's some other things.
Hormones?
Yeah, we know that this hormone is estrogen dominance.
Steroids blocking the lymphatic system, like deodorants or something like that.
Yeah, we talked about like dioxins and things like that.
Constipation?
Well, that's an obstruction. So a lot of people didn't get this answer right online. We did all that. I tried to get people to give me the actual answer, but
Dehydration.
no.
Chicken.
Chicken.
Okay, the question again was what causes what? Fibroids?
Yeah.
What causes?
Mucus.
What causes
Well, she did say
fibroids?
chicken, and I want to add on to the chicken, right?
Meat.
I said that chicken does not see the sun, all right?
Oh, like
Obviously, vitamin D. All right, so vitamin D is the cause. All right, if we
Yeah,
had
so
the
vitamin
lack of
D. The
vitamin
vitamin
D.
D is high fibroid?
Yes, it is. It's said in all research studies,
Deficiency.
most recent research studies is showing that vitamin D deficiency is the cause of fibroids. All right, it's a big related link,
Yeah.
and when you think about it, it's true. All right, so our melanated skin, all black people, this is a sunscreen, natural sunscreen. You go out to the sun and you don't have as much absorption of the sun as a more like a Caucasian person. All right. They can absorb the sun for an hour and get all the vitamin D needs that they need. For us, on the other hand, it's hard for us to absorb it. So we need to be taking and supplementing with vitamin D. We also need to be eating the foods that have the vitamin D in it as well. We're going to go over the foods in just a moment. But vitamin D is very important. I want to write it down somewhere. In order to create cholesterol, because once your receptors, your skin basically has light receptors, it has temperature receptors, it has a lot of receptors just for vitamin D. And when it activates the vitamin D in your skin, it makes cholesterol. Alright, and from cholesterol, you make something called pregnenolone. And from pregnenolone, you can make testosterone, and you can make progesterone. I ain't gonna write over everything, but everybody knows that what those are. Alright, so progesterone makes 3 different types of estrogens. Alright? It makes estrone, estriol, and estradiol. Alright, so we see that vitamin D is very important because that's at the top. And in order to get these down, we need to have those in balance.
What was that? When it's wrong on there? I put
It's
above
progesterone.
estradiol.
Progesterone.
No, the one directly above estradiol.
Estrone. Now this is a very weak and a bad estrogen. There's 3 different types of estrogen, as I said. All these are estrogens. And we want to get rid of this one. We want to get rid of the estrone. As we get older, more estrone is in our bodies than the estradiol. See, estradiol is the better one. All right, this is the good one. And there's ways that we do this when we take something called inositol. Inositol is a B8, a pseudo vitamin, but inositol helps change the bad estrogens into the good estrogens. And as long as you're having good vitamin D levels, it's going to actually change as on its own. So keeping that good vitamin D is one very, very important mechanism. So some of the foods that you can find this in, there's a lot of people that do not want to be completely vegan. You can find your vitamin D in your fatty fish, a lot of the fish oils, all right, mushrooms. I'll put mushrooms up here at the top because our diet is so important when it comes to these fibroids. Now, mushrooms, that should be on your list of foods online. I call this the anti-angiogenic diet. Anti means against, angiogenic means to grow new blood vessels. All right. So we don't want blood vessels feeding tumor. We don't want that. So we have to go against it and start to starve those blood vessels out using mushrooms. All right. Anti-angiogenic diet is a must. This is the way you must eat in order to get rid of the tumors. All right. All right. So I gave another list of foods. I think everybody has it on their worksheets, but I wanted to point out a couple of things that may not be there. All right, so we use broccoli. Broccoli powder or Brussels sprout powder or Brussels sprouts, all of those are anti-angiogenic, and broccoli powder has a very unique phytochemical in it called sulforaphane and diendolyl methane. If you find products that have DIM in it, you should be able to find those already isolated. But if you were to just get it from pure broccoli powder, you'll definitely get some of that in there. Now, that also helps estriol and estradiol. So you definitely need the broccoli powder to help out. Cauliflower. Cauliflower is also anti-angiogenic. When you have pineapples, lemons, let me just write those down. Lemons. When you think about the lemons, you want to make sure that you're feeding the citric cycle. Now, this is what we're doing when it's coming to making the liver function improve. We got to improve the liver function. Now, congested hormones are there in the liver, so you need the lemons, you need the pineapples. This helps us cleanse out the liver. Now, I would say a liver flush protocol is the next thing that you need to do. Clearing out those gallstones, making sure those sulfation pathways are good. That's the reason why we take the magnesium salt, the Epsom salts. So that helps out that sulfation pathway. I also said pumpkins. Pumpkins. Pumpkins is also anti-angiogenic. The seeds are actually angiogenic. Now, I talked about this in one of my, I did a festival, and we talked about angiogenic and based on anti-angiogenic. Now, the seeds are usually angiogenic, they build up vessels, and the pumpkin itself, or the apple itself, is something that does not build up vessels. So you can also use apple seed. But don't use the seeds. You got to keep it so those blood vessels do not grow. Grapefruit. Grapefruit is important. The grapefruit helps out for those people that like caffeine, people that drink coffee and have fibroids. There is a particular enzyme in the liver called cytochrome 1A2. It's basically, it helps break down certain estrogens as well. But if you're drinking a lot of coffee, you're not going to be able to break down those estrogens. So it works hand in hand, and the grapefruit helps work through that pathway and creates those enzymes. Now, I've done a lot of research. You can go on YouTube to look up grapefruit metabolism. Don't take that with any type of drugs or contraceptives or anything. Yeah, just don't take that at all. I put up here, on this other side over here, hormone dependence. You guys probably should answer that already. I don't know. Probably didn't go over that, but we said parabens, we said phthalates, things that are xenobiotics. But another xenobiotic is something called metalloestrogens. Now, metalloestrogens are on your worksheet. I think I put it up here. Things like lead, things like cadmium, copper, lead, aluminum. These are things that are in our atmosphere. All right. We have barium in our skies. We have that's a part of the chemtrails, something that we breathe in. But cadmium is one of the main things that's holding this fibroid there in its place. We have to detox the metals out of our system. We got to do a heavy metal detox. So that's a part of the protocol, is to detoxify all of the heavy metals. So make sure that you're taking in the right things for it. I have a heavy metal cleanse, but one of the things that's anti-angiogenic is cilantro and parsley. If you were to drink a smoothie of that on a daily basis for about 40 days, you can detox out the cadmium, the lead. Lead is the #1 cause of miscarriage. All right. So when people are full of these metalloestrogens, they just bind to all of your reproductive organs. I'm talking about to the ovaries. This is one of the causes of the ovarian cyst. So lead is there. So don't be wrapping up your potatoes with aluminum and chicken with aluminum and all those different things. Those things leak into the food. I know it's a lot of black people that like to use that method. So make sure you're detoxing those things out. Now I said a lot about mushrooms. I wanted to show the people that there is mushroom blends. This has reishi mushroom, cordyceps, chaga. This is a good mushroom blend to keep in your system to make sure it's anti-angiogenic. This is another mushroom blend. I really like the mushroom called Agaricus blase and shiitake. Those are really good. These have vitamin D3 in it. Now that vitamin D3, you also have it here. This is a vitamin D3. I'm going to give a dosage that black women need to have. Alright, so we know if you go to get a blood test, the 25 hydroxy cholesterol test, they always say that we are vitamin D deficient. They always say that we are. So I think every black person needs to take around about 40,000 international units vitamin D. Alright, make sure it's not the D2. D2 doesn't absorb so well, but the vitamin D3, that's what you need.
So taking 5,000 IU.
That's not enough.
It's not.
This one here is 2,200 IUs. I take already at least 4 of these per day myself, but if you have fibroids, you need to have 40,000. Some things that can break through the heavy metals. There is a product called EDTA. It's part of a chelation therapy. You may be able to find it in some of the CVS's or Walgreens. You only need to take 1 of those per day instead of the. You can still incorporate the cilantro and parsley, but this EDTA will take out some of your nutrients too. So you want to replenish, as you're taking that, keep replenishing daily. But it does break off some of the metallic estrogens that are there. Gets rid of those heavy metals. One other thing that you need, there's an enzyme that breaks away the fibrin. Right there. Now, a fibroid is these lymph sacs that has built up fibrin around it. All right, so it needs to break through them, and you can only do that with catalyst. So catalyst means there's a filament over here that's going to attach itself to another filament, and it's going to start eating away at that fibrin. All right. So there's something called serrapeptase. Or you can use natto kinase. Me personally, I choose the serrapeptase, but I do happen to sell the natto kinase. This is made from soybeans, and I don't want you guys to think bad about soy. We have a problem over here in the United States with soy because most of it is GMO. But when you get the soybeans from Japan, Korea, they don't have the GMO in there. Everyone eating soy over there. It has phytoestrogens in it. So it really helps balance out estriol and estradiol. So serrapeptase, you can take about, I would say 90,000 to 120,000 IUs. You can find that product on Amazon. I use the product called Doctor's Best. I'm always sending that out for everyone. There's a couple of people online that has had consultations, and they use the same product. But it definitely eats away at the fiber. Okay. So we know how to reduce the estrogen load. Stop eating chicken. Stop eating chicken. Stop putting on all the different makeups. Try to find something that's more natural. Also, your hand products, your skin products, and everything that you're using. The feminine products. I don't know if I wrote anything down, but the feminine products that you're using also have dioxins in it. Alright, so they are also contributing to the estrogen overload. Use something more natural. I have a couple of brands here that you can write down. Cora brand, Rael organic brand, Lola feminine products. Also, don't drink green tea. Don't drink the green tea. If you have fibroids, it's going to inhibit the amount of iron that you're losing iron already. And if you drink more green tea, it's going to create more loss of that iron. But we do have an iron formula that can help you get back to your right levels at 11, and that'll help you out a lot. Vitex. I didn't tell anybody about Vitex. This really helps balance out hormones. After you've done your liver flush, you want to start on the Vitex. That way it can help, balance out those hormones as well. So we're just really trying to get rid of the overload.
You said Vitex?
Yes, it's a berry that really builds up the balance of progesterone and estrogen. Okay. One other thing I think I did not tell everyone. Well, we already know about all these different mechanisms, these treatments that they have to offer, the hysterectomy, the partial hysterectomy. The ablation, if you've never heard of the ablation, this is where they have already did a myomectomy, and if you're having heavy menstruation or heavy bleeding, they will burn off the lining of the uterine lining. So this is so they won't bleed anymore. So either they're going to burn you, cut you, or poison you. That's the only methods that they have for you. But they don't know about natural methods and actually going through the steps that we're talking about here. One keynote that I should tell you about lymphatic drainage. You want to exercise. You got to exercise. You got to do some Kegel movements, meaning pelvic exercises, so you can get that lymphatic flow going. The lymphatic system does not work on a pump, so it's all about your movement. All right. So another thing that you want to include, going to the sauna. I would choose an infrared sauna, or if you have some infrared lights, put down some castor oil first and put them directly on your abdomen. All right. So that will help pull lymph fluid, and you will see some shrinkage of your gut layer. Basically, all of your adipose tissues will start to shrink with the infrared lights. The infrared sauna also detoxes out heavy metals. So if you guys didn't write down these other things, chewing gum has formaldehyde in it. A lot of ladies like to eat chewing gum. So we're talking about formaldehyde. We got BHTs. We got even your chips. They're butylated, so they got butane in there. People that like to eat a lot of chips. So it's a lot of things that we're already doing that's contributing. So if we stop these things, we'll learn what's going to actually start to heal. So as long as you keep on doing it, it's not going to heal. Your antibiotic soaps that have the parabens in there. Try to find something that's more natural. But I think this is pretty much it. But once all of these mechanisms is done, start on a rejuvenator. Get that rejuvenator going. This is going to change the 7-day cycles to a 3 to 4 day cycle. The hormone balancer, along with all the rest of these things, all you're doing is just making it even better. You know, making those estrogens balance out even better. This has the Vitex in it. It has the Shatavari in it. All those help with the hormones. Now this is important. The womb toner. The womb toner, using the wild yam has a lot of progesterone in it, so it helps balance out this estrogen. Using oat gal helps tonify everything, so creating some constriction will help loosen up those fibroids. So it's a process, people. It's a process. No matter how you put these methods together, these protocols together, you're going to see some big difference within about 4 to 6 months. You may start to see some old blood. That's stagnating blood. When the fibroids are shrinking, you're going to start to see some old blood. All right. Some people refer to that as being black blood, but that's what they start to see. But these are some indications that you know that they're shrinking. You're not going to have the same cravings anymore either. So those are all good things. All right. Well, stay tuned next week. Shalom, y'all people.